Hello everyone, it's Greg from Edinburgh Renaissance Fencing Academy here. In today's video I want to talk a little bit about different philosophies of training within the historical fencing and historical European martial arts scenes. This is an important issue to discuss because when people are exchanging ideas either in person at events or online over the internet, people sometimes get into disagreements or develop misunderstandings about each other's training styles because there are different motivations or different philosophies towards this martial practice. So I want to get into this in a little detail today and then explain my own, and by extension Edinburgh Renaissance Fencing Academy's philosophy of training. Okay, so let's first of all talk about the historical periods and what people's philosophies of martial training were in the past. Whether that's the Middle Ages, the Renaissance, the Baroque and Enlightenment periods, doesn't really matter. People went to fencing classes for primarily one reason, which is to maximize their chances of winning and surviving a real sword fight. Now, it's true that there were also kind of sporting competitions in the past, and there were also people who did fencing more as a pastime. But the underlying philosophy of training and the foundation of the classes was, I believe, that this is preparation for real combat, and that's why people did the training. Okay, now let's jump forwards to the present day. Why do modern people go to historical fencing classes and events? So here's the interesting thing. There are different motivations for doing this, and the different motivations will lead to different philosophies or approaches to training. So some common aims, goals, or motivations for practicing HEMA disciplines are it might be for sporting success and glory. It's quite common. Somebody might simply want to be the best swordsman that they can with a particular weapon form. Somebody might be going to fencing classes for fitness. It might just be an interesting way of keeping fit and healthy. For some people, it's about reviving or recreating a particular art from history and exploring that for historical reasons. And then there are plenty of people who do it simply as a kind of escapist fantasy. And in fact, it often goes hand in hand with a love of the fantasy genre of fiction and film. So all of these motivations are valid. They're all good reasons to be studying swordsmanship in the modern world. One thing that's missing from the list is preparation for real combat, because we don't have real sword fights anymore. It's important to understand this when we are discussing aspects of HEMA training, because I've noticed over the years that many misunderstandings or arguments, either in person or especially online, come about from differing motivations or differing philosophies. Perhaps one person's focused on sporting glory and they can't understand why somebody else trains in some seemingly archaic or anachronistic way. Well, the answer to that conundrum is it's two people trying to do different things within the broad sphere of the HEMA world. So I'd like to talk now about my own personal philosophy towards training, and by extension the philosophy of my school, ERFA. For me, the purpose of my classes is to try to recreate as accurately as I can manage the historical fencing system or systems that I am studying and presenting to my students. And the heart of ERFA's syllabus is the system of Giacomo di Grassi from 1570. So for me, I'm not interested in whether the style or the training exercises that I use to present it are good for success in sporting tournaments. It's not a consideration for me. It's not why I do it. I'm also not really interested in being the best swordsman with a rapier or a spadone or a partisan or whatever. I'm not a hugely competitive person. Now, I do want to get good. I want to improve my own skills, but I want to do it within the boundaries of the de Grassi system, because this kind of historical research and analysis is my driving force, if you like. I would be lying if I didn't say there wasn't an aspect of kind of fantasy escapism in it as well, and it does contribute towards my regular fitness regime. But those aren't the main objectives for my classes. I get my fantasy fix elsewhere by playing fantasy games and watching films and so on. And I do other forms of fitness to keep myself healthy. So for me, the number one goal of training is to try to recreate a specific historical system. Now, in practical terms, I cannot hand on heart say that I am 100% accurately doing exactly the same stuff that Giacomo di Grassi did back in his day. It's just not possible to say that. But I try to come as close as possible. So that means training with weapons which are as close as I can manage to the original specifications, and using the type of training exercises that de Grassi recommended in his book, and trying to have the right mental approach to conform with de Grassi's ideas, which are about always keeping yourself safe and covered when you're fencing, trying to be efficient with your movements, and always thinking about the real consequences of your actions. When it comes to gaps within the primary source, the treatise of de Grassi, I try to fill in the gaps by using secondary sources which are as close as possible to de Grassi's. So basically other Italian sources from more or less the same time period. So that is my approach to training and how I construct my lessons. And it's the sort of philosophy I try to instill in my students. Does that mean that I am the best rapier fencer ever, or that my students are the best rapier fencers ever? No, probably not. Do I think that de Grassi's style is the best fencing style in the world? No. I think it's a good style. I think it's pretty effective. I can't honestly judge whether it's the best one or not. Probably not. But it's not important for me. I'm just interested in trying to recreate this thing. So yeah, that's really what I wanted to get across today. What's your philosophy of training? Why is it that you go to lessons? If your objective is to win sports tournaments, then your style of training is going to look very different from mine, because the ultimate objective of your training drills is something quite different from me. And similarly, if your goal is just to be really good with a rapier, you might be training in a kind of hybrid way, drawing ideas from de Grassi, from Capoferro, from Bondi di Mazzo. Maybe you're going to pop over the border into France and examine some of the French masters, and lots of interesting rapier stuff from Germany, from Spain, from Portugal as well. So you could pick and choose techniques and ideas from different systems and kind of create effectively your own system. So good luck to you if that's what you want to do, but it's not what I want to do. In my main classes, I want to do late 16th century Italian rapier and fencing in general, with the rapier, with the partisan, with a spadone, great sword, and so on. So, I know that's a little bit of a rambling explanation, but I hope that it gives you pause and makes you think about why it is you're actually doing training in HEMA. And when you watch my videos, or if you ever come along to any of my classes or workshops, hopefully you'll know what to expect. They're not classes aimed at sporting success, they're classes aimed at a kind of historical recreation. Okay, I think I've spoken enough for one video, which is a slightly abstract concept. So I will finish there for today, but just one little postscript. Recently, this channel surpassed 600 subscribers, so thank you very much to all the viewers out there, and especially the subscribers. That's a really impressive figure for a small amateur channel like this. So yes, I'm very grateful for it. And of course, if you do find this or any of my videos particularly interesting, if you do all the usual YouTube stuff, such as liking the video, subscribing to the channel, or even sharing the video with like-minded people, that's always appreciated, and it helps to keep these ideas in circulation and hopefully to provoke sensible, intelligent, and historically based discussion about historical fencing and swordsmanship. All right, so that really is it for now. Thanks everyone. See you soon. Bye.